How you doing, Paul?
I'm doing real good. How about you?
Dude, Weird Paul is here. To me, this is almost like having a member of Kiss. I mean, I'm like, like going behind the curtain on something that just, dude, the autograph shirt.
Yeah. You know how I got this
How
shirt?
how did you get that shirt?
So, when I was a kid back in the 80s, I used to make my own videos all the time for other band songs. So we had a video camera and I would just, lip sync to people's songs. Sometimes I'd make up little storylines or whatever, and we'd make these music videos. And so I made like over 600 of these things back like between like 84 and 88 or something like that. And one of the ones I made was Turn Up the Radio by Autograph. So I uploaded that to YouTube, for everybody to watch. And then one day, all of a sudden, everybody's like, "Hey, check out Autograph's Facebook page. You got to check out Autograph's Facebook page." So I went on there and looked, and they found my video I made for Turn Up the Radio, and they posted it. And they said, if anybody can find who this kid is now, let us know because we want to send him a T-shirt and our new CD. And I was like, that was me.
Oh my God.
So then they sent me their like little fan club box with their hat and everything. Yeah, I was really excited that they liked the video too. So
wow, what? That's huge, man.
It is. I mean, there's like I got a short list of bands that have seen the videos I made back in the 80s for their songs. Twisted Sisters, another one. I know Dee Snider saw my video that I made for We're Not Gonna Take It. So
are these up? Can I? Yeah, I gotta go because I'm obsessed with finding your Crue videos. So I'm very obsessed with watching you play mine.
Oh yeah, I made Motley Crue videos when I was a teenager too. I made videos for some of their songs. So yeah, it's all on. I have like two different YouTube channels. One's for like the stuff that has copyright issues, like all those videos I made. So that one's called Homemade Music Videos by Weird Paul or something like that.
Okay, I'll put links in the chat, man. Yeah. Wow, dude, and I grew up like when I see your channel, I'm just so floored because it's just everything I grew up doing, but it's manifested in this universe where you just did it right. You know what I mean? It's like, I sat up with the little, my singer and Mike that I'm still friends with, the little pin mic, like you say, overdubbing like hair dryer noises into the Panama video and but not to the level you took it to, you know what I mean? Because we were in bands, but like, this is what I grew up like. And I saw this video, like, I used to call people about records, but now I'm calling Luke about Weird Paul. We're like, did you see when he had the conversation with his younger self? That was incredible. What was that about, man?
Well, I mean, there's people online. I saw other videos of people who had filmed themselves when they were younger and they were like trying to interact like with their younger self doing something. And I just have all this footage from when I was a kid. So I'm just watching everything I got. And then I had this footage of me pretending to have a phone conversation with somebody. So it was just like me talking into the phone saying stuff, but there was like nobody else. It was just all pretend. But I saw that and then like the light bulb went off. I was like, if I edit that and edit myself talking on the phone now into that, then it would be like me talking to myself back when I was 14, or whatever. So
dude,
it took some time for me to because I only could work with what my younger self was already saying. I did, the footage that I had. So I had to figure out what I'm going to say back and how it's going to work. But actually it came out really good. I'm really proud of that video.
Oh, it was so cool. And like you said, I remember Courtney Love once talked about Billy Corgan and Kurt Cobain. And that she said, those were the type of guys, and I did this myself, that plugged into their stereo with a Radio Shack stereo splitter. And that is us. And that
Absolutely.
Is where, right? You get that is where you come from, making this Radio Shack universe. You probably did some Radio Shack time?
It's so much realistic stuff. I mean, it was like my speakers were all realistic. The stuff I was playing through, my effect box, my microphone stand, everything was realistic. I mean, that's just where we bought everything back then, So
your guitar amps, that little pin. Remember that pin mic? It was like that radio. Yeah. It was beautiful. I mean, just to have, and you got just so creative because you had to just delve in and make things work.
You had to figure out a way. I mean, I just had what I had, and it's not like I could just go out and get whatever I needed. And things were, that kind of tech stuff was real expensive back then too. So you just how can I put these things together to make it run? You had to get really creative.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm 51. I don't know how old, but
I'm
do you
50.
remember?
Yeah.
Okay, so you remember getting a VCR and the magic. Someone said
Oh
this thing's
yeah.
coming. Like what
Oh
the
yeah.
dude? It was like R2D2 entered your house. You know
Oh,
what
it
I
was
mean?
amazing. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, we got ours in 82 because my dad was always really like ahead of the curve on that stuff. He was like really into, we had an 8-track recorder back when I was like 5. So we had like always like, we didn't have a lot of money growing up, but anything that was like new, my dad would like find a way to get it, whether he had to like wait till it was on sale or whatever, but he would get it. And so we got a VCR in 82, and I couldn't believe that I could like, keep watching the same thing over and over. Before that, it was like you saw something on TV, you might never see it again. And you're like, oh, I remember that. It was like always like this distant, like amazing memory. Like, oh, I can't believe I saw that thing on TV. I'll never see it again. And then, but now you can record it and watch it over and over. It was like mind blowing.
Yeah, Questlove from The Roots said something that he thinks a little bit of creativity was killed because we used to have to watch something, tape it, keep the idea of it in our head, and when we try to play it or emulate it, we got it wrong. So that was forming creativity. You know what
I
I mean?
still feel like no, that's how that's how I do what I do. It's always me. There's something else that I'm trying to aspire towards. Doing something like I've seen someone else do, but I can never meet that level of quality of it. So it's always like a little worse or a little strange or whatever. But that's like the charm of what I do, I think.
Oh, and there's so
Wow.
much charm. We were talking. I said, Luke, watching Paul is like, do you know the band Hanoi Rock? Are you familiar with Hanoi Rocks? Hanoi Rocks were like
Yeah,
a
just
glam
love
band that
love watching them back in the '80s. Yeah,
they influenced Guns N' Roses, everybody. And I go,
sure.
they wrote the line "Welcome to the Jungle." I go, watching Paul is like watching Hanoi Rocks. You just pull ideas from him. It's so ahead of everybody because there's just something. It's so weird, but it's so grounded. Because nowadays you have people trying to be weird, and it's
Oh
just
yeah, but you
it,
could tell right away, and it's like not, well, for me anyway. I say they're trying too hard to be weird. That's how I
yeah,
define it. It's just like, okay, that's, I mean, that's just not interesting to me because I can tell they're not really like that. They're just trying, you know.
yeah. And what's like the number of movies you've watched? I love that you keep track of this
Oh
stuff.
man, I think I've seen 9,555 movies now. Yeah, I have a list. And like, I can't for sure up until like 80, I started keeping the list in 88. So up till then I can't be sure, but I did like write down in my journal a lot when I was a kid. I'd say, "Oh, today I watched Splash" or whatever. So I went back and just like made the list of everything I knew for sure that I'd seen. And that's how many I know I've seen for sure. Yeah.
Because movies were our friend. I mean, they're still our friends. But did you ever work in a video store? Because I did, and it was just
That was my dream job back in the 90s. I never did, but I like, the video store is my home away from home. I
yeah,
had like 30 video memberships at one time once,
yeah.
because I would just go like from one store to the next, like,
It was my
constantly.
it was my first after my band. It was my first real job at 29, and I loved giving people erasing their days because our family had so many meltdowns over overdue movies and stuff, and it was like
Wow.
such a magical thing to be able to just click at the warehouse and like you're. But
Yeah.
like you, I was so obsessed I'd have to like I could take movies out, but I'd actually have to steal them back in the store because they wouldn't let me rent them early, and I was so obsessed I'd have to steal them back into the store. It was because you have to hold it above the thing. I wasn't stealing, but if you're not going to let me rent it, I can't have this early and not because they're like a drug, right? Those movies were our drugs.
Of course, I was addicted. Yeah, absolutely.
What were some that just really shaped you? What was some of those movies that just shaped you?
Oh, well, the first one for sure was Caddyshack.
Oh yeah,
I taped that off a TV, and we would watch it every day. My sister and I would just watch it every single day until like I knew every line in the whole movie. I still like probably quote it every day, something out of that movie. I say just like to somebody, but such a it's just such a funny movie. And like when I finally saw it years later, many years later, I saw it on DVD. I had never seen it other than that TV version. So like they had taken all the bad words out and
oh
everything, and
man,
it was like, and then I was like, wow,
yeah.
it's like it was a whole new movie all of a sudden. I love that. The Jerk with Steve Martin was another one.
Oh, my name's in the
that-
phone book. Like that was
Yeah.
so magical growing up, man.
I watched that every day too. Those were like the two of the first ones that I just couldn't stop watching. Yeah.
It's just the power of those things and the way it just shaped our minds. And I
Oh,
was
yeah.
talking to, I don't know, did you see Class Action Park, that movie? It's a newer movie about this amusement park I grew up going to as a kid. If you didn't, you should. It's
No.
on HBO Max. But
Okay.
I was talking with the director and he said, like you say about Caddyshack, we had these visions of things we grew up. And as you get older, you go, did that really happen that way? Or have we shaped the memory? And then when it really
Yeah.
did happen, like you say, the Caddyshack, you go, wow, that really was. Or you discover like a movie like later, like I finally saw Rad, and the vision of what you had as a child and what you're seeing. It's wild, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, my memory is like can be very deceptive, and there's like things where I said for years I would tell people, yeah, this is how it happened, just like this, and it happened, and then like later, like there's some like really defining evidence that it was not that way at all, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe that that's not how it happened at all, like completely wrong, or like some line I remember from a movie. And it turns out it's not that line. Like the one yesterday actually was The Burning. It's a 80s horror movie,
Okay.
early 80s. And Tom Savini did all the effects in it. And I saw it in the early 90s. And I always remembered that there was a line. This guy says, I told you to get lubricated rubbers. And so I put the movie on yesterday and I hadn't seen it in like 30 years. And the guy never says that. So he says something similar, but he doesn't say that exact line. So I was like, oh, I thought that's what I remembered, So
Those things, and that inspires creativity. I mean, Noel Gallagher wrote "Live Forever" getting off work, and he heard a Stone song, and he thought that was the lyric, and it wasn't the lyric.
yeah,
It's just it's an easy way to inspire and
oh yeah, misheard stuff, absolutely, yeah.
and what I think is so good is you're such a fan, but you give so much back to the internet. I always think people take from the internet, but they don't give back. You give back so much to us. Like I love watching your it genuinely entertains me. It's not. I have this thing of coworker instances where you're doing something for a coworker, where you watch their band or their stream or something, where you're like,
yeah,
it's good, but you're not genuine. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's a good definition for that. Yeah.
In music, I call it coworker rock. Like their band's not bad, but you're like, yeah, I'll go see them. First show out,
sure.
Every show out, it goes down by 50% because it's not genuinely entertaining. But how does it feel to be one of these people? Like I know what you grew up on. You are one in the modern age, and there's not many. There's like no Weird Paul. I mean, it's you. How does it feel to be a father of what's going on?
I don't know. I just do what feels right for me and what's natural. And this is what I've been wanting to do basically since I was a kid. It's just, it took a really long time to find out the right way to do it. And especially to feel comfortable in doing it. Because there's a lot of time where I had people telling me that, what you do is worthless and it's, you're never going to, it's never going to amount to anything or whatever. I had to get over all of that and realize that it wasn't like that at all. And once I got past that, it was a lot easier. But it's, just Twitch is really a real good forum for all the stuff I do. It really fits really well into streaming on Twitch, I think. And so I'm really lucky that I found this as a place, a home to do it. I don't know. I don't really feel like important or anything or famous or.
But you are.
Like
but you are, and the thing. The most important thing is you put smiles on people's face. That's got. I mean, I'm on. And I know that's someone's got a Beat Street day and they watch Weird Paul, and you have talk about Weird Paul the way you talked about albums as a kid, and it's joy. You're bringing joy.
I like to see people smile. That's one of my favorite things because I feel like it's like magic. Because it's like hard to make people laugh or smile. It's not like an easy thing to change somebody's emotion. And so I feel like it's like whenever I saw comedians like Steve Martin, or whoever, like when I was a kid, I said, oh, wow, that's really cool. I want to do that too. Make people laugh. And I don't like doing anything that I don't feel I wouldn't want to watch. I don't like just watching people do nothing and no energy, just sit there and kind of just like stare. And I like seeing people who have some energy and are animated and do things that are going to keep me wanting to keep watching, you know, so it's entertaining. And so I don't want to do anything less than that. I want to do the same thing.
Yeah. And I mean, you are a pioneer. I'm Luke and I were talking, definitely a pioneer of this, that whatever this is.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's what is this? What is this? It's like, and that's what Twitch for me, you know, I can play my bass, then I can put a video up of Motley, like you could do, because we're about more things than one thing. Whereas you used to have to be, this is what we're, so what do you think about being about more than one thing? I mean, it's amazing.
That's the thing. It's hard to, you don't fit. See, every part of the world, or everything, every business is all about putting everything into whatever slot it goes into. This is this is that. And the harder it is to define something, the less easy it is in this world to get it out in front of people, because it's not, people want everything to be really cut and dried, one specific thing, I think. And most people do. And so it's hard, I think, to reach people if you're not like that. But I'm not, you know, I get bored just doing one thing. It's not interesting. And there's so many things that I like to do and that I feel like I have some kind of talent for. So I want to, you know, I want to do as much as I can. And I don't care, you know, I don't care if that affects, you know, people see. It's like YouTube is a good example. I do all kinds of different stuff on YouTube. Yeah. YouTube is all about, now YouTube themselves have even admitted they want you to make every video almost exactly the same. They want the same kind of content over and over and over again. But I don't like making the same kind of video. I don't want every video to be about the same thing. So, you know, that hurts me. But I don't. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to do it my way. It's my way or the highway, YouTube.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've always been ahead of my time, you know, in 100%. Some way. And what are you going to do? People who have been ahead of their time throughout history, they don't really get recognized for it until after they're gone.
That's true.
So
that's true.
If that's the case, it would be really nice if I was still alive.
I mean, I feel like you should have, I don't know if you like this show, but there's only one guy I've got the same joy of, is Dave Little Dicky. I don't even love his rap, but I don't know if you know the story. He just like was working downtown San Francisco as a rapper. He's got this show, Dave, but it's about all the things he does and his weird little rap career as you know, he has funny little rap songs, and he just took over. And I get a big joy out of his show. You should check out Dave. I think you'd like it.
I will.
But yeah, it's like I'm very, Luke is basically my sister station, and we call up at night and we talk about you. Like, I like that it's not so polished, that there's like you move, you don't slave to polish, or if a screen or like it moves, so I don't get bored, because some things are so polished and so green screened out and they look like a fucking slot machine to me.
Right.
That it's too
good.
No, right. It looks like whoa, what's going on? It's like but there's nothing going on, but it looks like, you know, like a fancy Vegas digital slot machine. And I like the old one. We actually feel it rumble, and that's what I feel from yours. Thank you. Show. It's true, right?
Thank you. Well, that makes me happy to hear that. Thank you. Yeah, I that's what I want. If I can make that, get those feelings from somebody, that's what I want. That's
I mean, can you imagine not having, and you meet people like this, you're so creative, dude. I love creativeness, is air to me, and I know it is to you. I mean, it's just what you do and breathe. I mean, what how do you feel about creativity and the joy of being able to create and just put it up and have us all digest it so fast?
Yeah, I mean, it's all I care about, really. And I just, anytime I have to do anything else, I'm not happy.
I love it.
And I've went through periods of my life where it's like I had gotten married. I was married for a while back in the 90s, and it was like totally the opposite of me getting to be creative and trying to fit into like some kind of weird normalcy or something in life, and I was just miserable. It wasn't for me. So I just have so many ideas constantly. It's constant from the moment I wake up on. Most of them don't even see the light of day. There's not enough time in life for everything, but I do what I can.
Yeah, and I got divorced too, and it was I got married, but then when it was coming down to have a kid, and I realized what my wife wanted was a very and what she got was awesome. She got a dude. It's like, obviously when you first get divorced, you look at what they're doing. Well, if the wife doesn't want me to watch the Fast and Furious, can't go out, guys. I'm like, no, I was a war of staying up late night on the internet doing what I did. Like, I can't answer where this is going. I can't answer why. It's up here. I don't know why. It's just what I do. And it's,
Yeah.
I always say a lot of people start out liking guys like us, and then eventually they realize we're not changing. I remember when I got divorced, my cousin said to my ex-wife, she said, he just, my cousin didn't like my lifestyle. It's a very straight edge, and we're friends. And he goes, no, it's not that he changed. The problem is he didn't change. He's been the same guy since he's been in 7th grade. That's your problem with him. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's, that they're talking about like it's a problem, but it's not.
Right. Yeah.
The thing is, too many people actually change too much from who they were, and you totally get out of touch with the person that you were. It's just, I don't know. It's not you anymore. It's just not you anymore. That's the problem.
I taught kids music for a while in the inner city,
wow.
and the one thing I told them that I hope they retain, I said, if you learn one thing from me, don't let your 15-year-old self down. You know what I mean? Do not let it, like, that got, like, if I want something in the middle of the night, I still appreciate that I have a car and I can go buy ice cream at Foster's Freeze, that I can do these things. I know what it was like in 7th grade when I couldn't do it, everything I wanted to do.
Sure, of course.
And the more you let that dude down, I think the more miserable you get.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of miserable people out there.
We were walking and I heard two dudes in Palo Alto, me and my singer in my band, and we heard two dudes, and one dude was talking to his friend. You could see his friend's face was miserable. He was talking about the remodel on his house in the kitchen, and you just saw the guy he was talking to just like wanting to off himself. He was so bored. He's like, I want to talk. Well, then we did the remodel. Then we really, like, this guy wants to talk about shit you did in college, man. You're like, oh my God. And we're watching them. We're watching them and listening, and he couldn't even gauge that his buddy just wanted to throw himself in moving traffic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I mean, that's a thing for me is I grew up with a lot of social anxiety because I got bullied a lot in school and stuff. And I've learned to be able finally to like be around other people and have a good time and talk to people. But there's still times when you just end up like at some kind of family get together kind of a thing or something, a lot of people you don't know or whatever. And it's like really hard for me to be able to comprehend what the people around me are talking about. It's just like another planet,
Well, they want you to justify your existence. Hey, still at it with the YouTube, Paul. Still at it with the music, Brit. Still at it. They love that one. You know what I mean?
Still at it, sure.
Still at it. Oh, man.
That's fine. It's just I don't. It's the same thing for me though. It would be like, oh, you still at it with trying to make your garage door opener work?
Oh yeah. Exactly. Still at it with the remodel, the endless
exactly. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. It's like,
and what shows, because I grew up like you do, just like why my show exists is because on Monday through Friday, I didn't drink in high school because what we did, the same friends I still have, we went to Greg Blackman's house and Headbangers Ball was on, and we gathered round and we ordered pizza. We didn't even drink, and we just argued over the bands, and maybe someone had Night Flight taped, and we, just
sure, I love Night Flight.
And we just would just go and riff, and that's just I still want to do. That's why I'm in Twitch to do with my friends. Same. What were you watching, and what was moving you, and what was your scenario growing up in high school with TV and late night? Because there's a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really, up until my senior year of high school, I didn't really have any friends or anything. Right. So I was just like, on my own, but I had younger sisters. And so I was always like just trying to say, hey, check this out. We watch this band this thing just came on TV or whatever. But I watched music videos. Like that was my religion, I didn't get MTV until almost 1987, but wow. I had very good sleuthing skills for finding music videos. Any channel, there was a lot of UHF channels that
Oh
showed music
yeah.
videos. I mean, if you looked really hard, you could find music videos everywhere, every day. So I was always like looking, I watched every music video I could see. I even had a list for a long time of everyone I'd ever seen, but I threw it away eventually. But I watched like every show I could find, and then we got cable finally, and I was Night Tracks on TBS. I taped that. It was like 6 hours Friday night or something. I'd watch, I'd just like fast forward through and look for every video I never saw. And then Night Flight, of course. I love Night Flight.
Yeah.
Still, I have the Night Flight on the Roku now. I still watch that.
So
And then MTV, of course. So Headbangers Ball was a thing for me too. It was on every afternoon, as I recall. There was like a metal show.
yeah, there was a Saturday night where we all gathered.
The longer one.
Yeah, right.
And I still remember watching Wasp on that Wild Child by Wasp on that afternoon one after school one day. I remember that came on. I was like, yes, Blackie.
Oh, God. I had Chris on the show, asked him about writing that riff, and he's like, I don't know. I guess it was okay. I was like, whoa. We had U68, which was a local access. That's what
that must have been amazing.
And it was like videos made. I'll send you one by a band Monroe that changed Cinderella, where they would flip the guitars around. They originated that. White Lion had a local act where they had like a toilet paper thing to make it look like a wireless. People were being ingenuitive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And it was just so cool. And then you put your little tape recorder in front of the TV to get there you go. Got it on cassette. TDK.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Did that all the time. I was taping everything off the TV from like 1979 on, probably on the little audio cassettes. Oh, you're talking about video cassettes, are you?
No. I was talking about cassettes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I did a lot of video, but sometimes I would want the cassette to play somewhere.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Since I was like 8, I was doing that.
Yeah,
so,
because the recorder with the button stuck up in the middle when you know what I mean? That was like magic when someone first had one of those on the block. It was exciting,
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It's just such a magical, so many little tidbits, you know what I mean, that we just grew up with, just an amazing time, and that you're synthesizing them into something modern is just blowing my mind.
Yeah, well, it's like a different world now. So either I always say there's a lot of people who just say, "Oh, this is awful. Everything's different now," and it was so much better before. But the thing is, you just got to move with it. You got to move with it and roll with it, because there's a lot of ways you could still make it work. You can take what you had and still make it work today. You just got to figure it out, and I feel like I have.
You have. I mean, Paul, can you imagine if I went and you've taken advantage of it? Like at 15, I go, Paul, these videos you're making, you can have your own TV show. You just have to click a few things on your computer, and it goes across the world.
We could never have imagined, man. It was just.
I
just knew that someday I was going to do something with it. That's all I knew. I just didn't know how or what exactly, but I knew it was going to happen. I just hold on to it. Something's going to happen with it.
And it does. It is. And it's just so magical what you give us, man. And we bonded over our love of, I think we have a similar love where we're not heavy guys. I had a fight because I grew up in a very metal town where Metallica, the Old Bridge Metal Militia, and I was into Autograph and Rat and Jovi and Crew, and I think you're similar in that, right?
I'm into a lot. I just love music in general.
Yeah.
I love all kinds of music. And people always say, "Oh, there's all these different kinds of genres of music, and what's your favorite music?" And I always say there's only 2 kinds of music. There's good music and there's bad music. And I listen to the good music.
And you make good music. I love your music, man.
Thank you. I mean, there's a few good ones in there, yeah.
There's something that's got to be. We miss silliness in music. The Trogs, all those things in the 50s. There was a silliness to it that was beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I don't know. There's just like music is. I feel like a lot of the music being made now that's like really in front of people that everybody's listening to, that gets shoved down their throats, is just very sterile. Everything's recorded with the most high-tech equipment, so there's like no humanness left in it. It's almost like all robotic. And I like listening to music that was recorded, with people making it, because you can hear the humanness in the music. You can hear that there was somebody actually playing the instruments, and everything. You can hear that little bit of tape hiss or whatever that's in there.
Oh yeah.
That's what makes it real. That to me. I mean, somebody's going to say, "Oh, okay, boomer," or what?
No. It's
But
true.
I'm telling you that's the difference.
Well, think of this. And I talk to my friends that play music. There's a difference of sitting down and looking at something than standing up. Usually you sit down, then you stand. Like I'm sitting with you because we're sitting down. We're having we're not in our manic mode.
Yeah.
That's why I'm sitting down. And sometimes you should sit down and play music, but sometimes just the act of standing up, you approach something different, I think.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, that's really good.
I mean, why are you sitting down now as opposed to standing up? Because we're yeah, I mean, it's like we're
yeah, I hear what you're saying. Well, it's if something gets me really excited, whether it's a movie or music or whatever, if I'm sitting down, I get up. I stand up because it's moved me, and it touched me somehow. It got me excited about being alive.
Totally.
So,
I mean, I do this thing. My mom
point.
jokes. I rub my hands when a movie gets me going. My nephews all make fun. I get really like when something's like new Quentin Tarantino. Not that it's ever been the same for me since Pulp Fiction, but just like you just rub your hands and that pulse of just ooh.
Sure.
I
know what you mean. Yeah.
What are some of your favorite TV shows that are on now? Is there anything you're digging that, is there something?
I don't know if I watch anything anymore. I don't know if I do. I mean, I kind of quit watching TV a long time ago. Maybe in the early 90s, maybe I kind of quit watching TV. I really would just mostly watch movies. But I mean, every once in a while there's a show on that I'll check out, or that I watch for a little while or something like that.
What's the last thing that really got you excited in I don't care whether it's ice cream, pizza, like music, movies. What's the last thing that just made you stand up?
That's a good question. Let me think. Man. I'm trying to think. It's really, this is one that I can't think of anything like, that just recently. I mean, I'm sure there's tons of things.
Yeah, isn't it weird when you think of it?
I can't think of anything right at this particular moment, but could have been anything. Could have been just a video that I saw.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Just a
on
little
YouTube
thing
or something. I can't think right now of what it is. I can tell you one thing but I'm involved, so I'm biased.
Oh, I love it. Just something that excited. That I just saw the skip in your step, man. I love
this friend of mine in LA who does this YouTube channel called Squirrel Monkey, which is he does videos of what social media would be like in the 80s or 90s. So he'll take something. I think the most recent one was Grubhub, and so he showed what it would be like if you could use that back in the 90s, and it's like all
that's genius.
Yeah, so he's been doing that for a long time, and every once in a while he'll one of the companies that owns a social media, whatever it is, they'll say, "Oh, check this out," and then he'll get all this publicity for it. But anyway, he started making a Weird Paul video game. So he's got this little Weird Paul sprite walking around, and he showed me picking something up off the ground, and I haven't seen much of it yet, but it looks amazing. So
that's cool.
I got excited when I saw that.
I'm excited for that, man.
Yeah.
What a great concept.
It's almost like an RPG or something. I don't know. So.
Oh my God, that's so cool, man. Well, before we go, let's talk about our mutual love of Crue. When did you first get hit by Motley Crue and the sensory for an MTV baby? That sensory overload from the X's in their name was just sensory overload to me. I'm sure it was for you.
I think it was. I mean, I knew about Motley Crue probably back in 80. I'm trying to think here. Late 84, I'm guessing.
So we were similar. I worked my way back. You saw.
But I didn't hear them. That was the thing. I mean, they didn't show that. You couldn't see Motley Crue music videos really, except I guess maybe on MTV and stuff like that. I didn't have cable, so they just didn't show those on the channels I watch, or barely any heavy metal videos for that matter. So that was something I didn't get really exposed to right away. But it was in magazines. I had some music magazines I had bought, and it said Motley Crue. They love the devil and all this stuff. I'm like, wow, This is wow. This is crazy stuff. And so
this is
then,
not
like,
about remodeling your kitchen, you know.
exactly.
I mean,
And then I had a friend who like had a paper route. So he had a lot of extra money. He'd go and buy the new heavy metal cassettes every week. He'd go out and buy more. And he was the one that he had bought Shout at the Devil. So then I started hearing that. I was like, oh wow. I was like, this is great. This rocks so hard, you know. And then it was after that we finally got a heavy metal radio station in Pittsburgh.
okay.
It was only on the air for 3 months, and then it got a country station took it over, which was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I was so depressed because I listened to that station morning and night. Like school was the only thing that kept me from listening to it. So then I started hearing like all the old Motley Crue stuff too, all the stuff on Too Fast for Love. I was like, this is amazing. And that's how I got into Motley Crue. That night, my band did the entire Too Fast for Love album live.
I love that.
So that was
working
really
it, working
fun.
everybody. They can see it on your YouTube, right? That's where I know I saw it.
There's I think there's did I put the whole concert up? Yeah, I guess I did. I put the whole thing up. Yeah, it's on my YouTube channel. And you know, as this show went on, I got to admit my voice started to wear out because it's hard to hit some of those notes, especially on Too Fast for Love. There's some pretty high notes.
Sing. I know now. No, he didn't sing back then. I bought a bootleg when I was a kid. You know, when you go to the auction, and he sang every other word back then. It's not
really?
It's about 100%. Look at us. That's why they didn't even show them on Showtime. If you notice the US Festival concert, they don't show Crue because he was so just like singing.
Is that
but when
right?
you're there, you're like, whoa! It's the spirit,
There's
man.
The dirt. Yeah. That's crazy. Well, I didn't know that. Well, I hit most of the notes, so I did a little better than him.
I felt like watching you. It was the spirit of it. Like the spirit was captured more than some Crue band. Like it meant a lot to me. You doing it like he gets it. Like this is Starwood. He gets what the Starwood felt like in 1979/80. That weird 79, the 70s are turning into the 80s. Van Halen are tightening up their bell bottoms like we're in this weird, because I got 79 to 82 is a weird era for everything we're growing up on, man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. A lot of changes going on there.
But still, they say the first 2 years of a new decade are the highlight of the previous one. And that's what it seems, you know, I mean.
That's right. Yeah.
So everybody, I'm going to send everybody to your channel, but you also have YouTube. You have stuff on Spotify. I'm going to put links to everything, man.
That's really kind of you. Thank you. I appreciate
it's kind of you for being here, man. Paul, I want to thank you so much. This is so special to us. We all talk about you, and you were just so cool to make this happen so quickly.
Thank you, Bert. That's really awesome. I'm really, really glad I was here. Thank you.
Will you say goodbye to everybody and then hang out so I can say goodbye to you?
Bye, everybody.